Hello, everyone. In continuation with our Azure tutorial, we will speak about a very important topic, that is virtual network. Now, networking is the most important factor during the design process, during the implementation process, even if we don't talk about cloud, which means that whenever there is a data center designing in process, implementation in process, the first thing that the planning is done for is the networking part. Once the networking part is done, and then various other resources, servers, storage, all those are then planned for. The first point is networking. So same thing goes with Microsoft Azure, or in fact any other cloud platform. The very first thing is virtual networks. So let's talk about that. Before that, please subscribe to our channel, Cloud Project Factory, and press the bell icon to get the regular notification. Thank you. So let's start. So once we log into portal.azure.com with your subscription, so you can see this page over there. So this is customizable page, and you can change the settings from whatever your customization is. You can make the changes. So this is what I work on generally. So I've made uh, this page look familiar for me. So on the left hand side, you can see resources are mentioned. All these are resources. Okay, so these are favorites resources. There are multiple resources. You can go to all resources. It will list out all the resources provided by Microsoft Azure. So today we are going to talk about virtual networks. Moving on to virtual network. So in the newer version of Microsoft Azure, there is a concept called resource groups. Now, what is a resource group? So Microsoft have introduced this concept of resource group to bring out simplicity, to ease the process. For example, these are nothing but just a folder kind of structure. For example, you have a set of servers or set of resources that you want to term it as a production environment. You can create the resource group with the name production. If you have a set of resources for testing or DR process, you can create a resource group with the name testing. So let's start with that. So let's start creating a resource group first. You just need to click on add. So here you have to select whatever subscription you have, and this is for Azure training. Okay, and the region where you want to keep this, it's not mandatory that you have to select any region in India. I mean, you can select, you can choose over any region, but then this will be important when you you have to decide on this based on where you plan to keep your resources. So I'm choosing Central India for now. And all the resources are not available in all the regions, so you have to be careful. You have to get the details of that region before moving ahead. So for now I have created Central India, and let me just check if everything is okay. Yeah, so I need to click on here and then click on create. So within fraction of seconds, it will get created. You can click on refresh. You can see Azure training mentioned over here. Okay, so let's move on to virtual networks. Go to virtual network. You can click add here, or you can click on add here, or there is an option for creating a virtual network here as well towards the down. Okay, so you can click on add here. So I'm mentioning it as training vnet 01, and I'll give the address space as 172.116.20.10 slash, and whatever and how many address space you have to give. So it's based on, if you can see here, it's based on CIDR notation. So that's a different topic. We'll discuss on that. I'll give it as 16 over here. It's too much. Slash, let me give it as 28. So 16 addresses. And out of these 16 addresses, uh, 5 are reserved by Microsoft. Okay. So I'll come to that point to discuss on that. So the resource group which I selected and which I created a couple of minutes ago, and location, I'll leave it to Central India. So 16 addresses are there, 5 addresses are reserved, as I said. Or let me do one thing, let me add this a little more. I'll make it as 64 addresses, that would be better. Subnet vnet subnet 01, I'll give it that way, and I'll give it 1016. 16.0.0/28. So 16 addresses I've given. And DDoS is nothing but denial of service protection. So I'll talk about that in a couple of in the upcoming sessions. So it's a denial of service protection. Okay, and I'll stick with the basic over there. Basic is you don't have to pay extra charge for that, and standard you have to pay extra money for that. Service endpoints will do that for now. Firewall will again create the firewall, and you need to click on create. But this is what the basic information is needed to create virtual network. You need to click on virtual network, create now. So I've just clicked on create, pressed on that button. It will validate. It will take few seconds to get created. You can check the status over here. The deployment is in progress. So deployment succeeded. You can see it over here. You can press on. You can. So this is the virtual network created. You can log in there. In the overview section, you can see you have the option to change the DNS. You can see the address space. You can add the. Now what we'll do here is we will add subnets. So if you remember, I've given only 8 subnets over here. So let me add one more subnet. So this is fine, looks fine. So network security group is, we don't have any network security group yet. So we will talk about that in the upcoming sessions. Okay. And so we leave it as it is. Route table we will again talk about. Service endpoints, you have the option to select Active Directory, Cosmos, DB. I mean, so many services are there. But for now, I'll keep it as 0. And even the subnet delegation option you have, and what is this? It designates a subnet to be used by a dedicated service. For example, this particular service you want to dedicate it to Active Directory only. So or domain controller, you can design in that way. So it's not mandatory for me now to select it. So I'll just press on OK button down there, and you can see subnet 1 and subnet 2 both are created. Okay. So this is how a virtual network is created. In the next session, we'll talk about virtual machines. That's the first topic to start with after creating the network, after designing the network. Thank you. See you in the next session.